Mr. Raja, thank you for joining us today on this podcast on the sidelines of India Week 2025. Thank you for waiting. And we look forward to having a discussion with you about the things you've found interesting so far about India Week 2025, the things you spoke about in your very mesmerizing discussion and panel discussion at the conference. So, how has India Week 2025 been
It's
for
been
you so far?
it's been fabulous, Ishan, and thank you for hosting me on this podcast. Please call me Raja. And yeah, it's been a fascinating week. It's been a amazing set of people who have come together for India Week. And I think I walk away with the strong feeling that the treaty that just got announced is going to be a landmark treaty for the kind of explosion I see in business in the India-UK corridor. And I already see so much interest in UK companies, UK businesses, UK services wanting to come into India. And I'm sure the same is the case in reverse as well. So I think a lot is going to happen as far as the UK India corridor is concerned. And I think this event was quite timely in that it just brings to light the excitement and the optimism on both sides.
Absolutely. And that was captured, I think, by the audience in the event as well. Just to start off, I think you should tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do at Spring Marketing Capital.
Sure. So I am the co-founder of a firm called Spring Marketing Capital, and marketing, as the name indicates, marketing capital as different from venture capital.
Absolutely.
So we run funds which invest in consumer companies in India and offer brand and marketing advisory as part of our investment.
Okay.
We enjoy working with founders. We roll up our sleeves. We get involved in these companies. We do whatever it takes to build a brand. It's a very exciting time to be doing this in India. Like I spoke at the conference as well, India is going through a big shift in its demographics. It's now a much younger country. It's becoming younger. And that sizable young population is, I think, going to drive and change consumption patterns in the years to come. And you will see a new set of emerging brands in every kind of area: healthcare, personal care, financial services, fashion, lifestyle, all catering to this new generation of consumers. And I think those are the kind of companies that we are backing. Those are the kind of founders that we are working with. Very excited about what the future holds for this market.
Absolutely. Just since you've spoken about the things India is bringing to the table, especially in the context of the UK India FTA, could you talk to us about how the venture capital space in India differs from those in other countries? What makes us so unique?
So I would say, I think we are only seeing, I would say, as far as the VC space is concerned in India, it's probably a couple of decades old. It's not a very, the first set of VC firms probably were operating in the 90s. It's post 2005, 2008 that the VC industry itself took off. Until then, most founders didn't know they had access to this kind of capital. It's only in the last 10, 15 years that as the attractiveness of India as a capital friendly market grew, as investor confidence started growing, as investors started believing that they could earn out of India, that's really when the whole VC market took off. So the VC market doesn't operate in isolation. It requires for capital to come into the country and for capital to back entrepreneurs. You need an underlying set of factors to happen. You need macroeconomic factors to align. You need physical and digital infrastructure to be built. You need entrepreneurs to be coming up. 20, 30 years back when I left college, an average student would want a good job, would want to work in a multinational company or want to work in an Indian company. That's completely transformed. Now, recently I spoke at a college, and in a class of 30 people, I asked them, how many of you want to be entrepreneurs? 10 of them raised their hands. And that, I think, is probably a sign of the times. As you see more successful startups being built, as you see more entrepreneurs creating value, you will see more venture capital firms investing in India. So there's a bit of a cycle. It's a bit of a demand supply equation. VCs follow markets. They invest where they see potential for earning money, and they also invest where they see potential of backing founders or creating category defining companies. And all of that is happening in India. Like I said, I think this is a sunrise industry for India. You'll see a lot of capital coming in. I think geopolitical factors are also helping position India as the right destination for this capital. You also see a new form of venture capital that's come out in India, which is the capital of family offices who have built traditional businesses in India.
Yeah.
Many of them have had successful exits in the last couple of decades, either through a public listing or through a PE firm having bought their companies out. And all those families coming back and reinvesting that capital behind entrepreneurs. So I think this is, if you're in India, I think it's a very exciting time to build. You have access to capital. You have, like I say, hundreds of millions of consumers waiting to consume products and services. And this is absolutely the right time to build in India.
True. And now I'm a big believer in India story. Everyone knows that. And I think this conference has just reaffirmed that belief in the India story. What role do you think venture capital can play in just driving growth forward? Because we need something to supercharge the industries that actually will build the new India. I was reading a few articles in the Financial Times recently, and they were all talking about how the big American brands that we talk about all the time have grown to the degree they have because of the venture capital industry behind them, supporting them. So, do you think India can catch up, and what role do you see venture capitalists playing in it?
I have a slightly contrarian view on that. I don't think VCs create industries. I don't think VCs create categories. I don't think VCs are responsible for sea change. Like I said, I believe VCs follow markets. VC follows opportunity. Capital is always going to be one step behind because capital wants, first of all, to be able to know that they can make money out of it. I feel that for the wave is actually begun and created by entrepreneurs. And that's the wave that we are seeing in India. We are seeing entrepreneurs who are sensing opportunities across board: healthcare, financial services, Gen AI, consumer, fashion, lifestyle. They are seeing opportunities in all these categories, especially when it comes to the consumer business, which is what I focus on. They're seeing the opportunity that 1.5 billion people have for consuming products and services in India. And as the middle class, the segment of middle class increases, which is currently happening, I think you will see a lot more entrepreneurs creating products and services. I don't give too much importance to VCs like us. I think we are going to be followers. We are going to follow the entrepreneur. We will obviously invest where we see an opportunity to make money. So my request to you is, I think, focus on the entrepreneurs. The VCs will follow.
So, you've spoken about the different sectors that you're seeing growth in. If you were to pick out one sector that is going to be key for driving growth in the next 10 years, what would it be?
I think, obviously I will say consumer because that's the sector that I operate in. But I say it also because of the underlying factors that are driving domestic consumption in India. We used to speak about the demographic dividend for very long, and I've been hearing the story of the demographic dividend paying off for multiple decades. But I think it's actually happening. As India gets closer to the magic figure of 2.5K USD per capita, I think you will see a big change in discretionary income that's available for consumers to spend. And they're already seeing that. India is getting younger, which is, I think, one of the biggest advantages that population has.
One of the few countries that has this advantage.
Correct. There are 377 million Gen Z currently in India. It's estimated that in 10 years' time, 1 out of every 2 rupees spent is going to be spent by a Gen Z, one of the Gen Z population. That's incredible numbers because what it means is that patterns of consumption that we have seen so far are going to dramatically change. And like I said, the way these people consume, how they think about consumption, their behavior, where they consume is all going to is very different from traditional consumption. And it's going to create a new set of companies and a new set of brands. So I'm most excited by the domestic consumption space in India. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs share this excitement, which is why you're seeing, like I said, students coming out of college and actually starting products and services, targeting this segment. Professionals who work for 10, 15 years in companies wanting to come out and start companies. And like I keep saying, I think VCs will follow these on.
Yes. But I just wanted to dive a little bit from a critical lens into this because going by what our Union Minister Piyush Goyal said, talking about how startups in India are definitely focusing towards consumer led growth and consumer spending. They are doing very little in terms of innovation, value addition to the economy, and research and development. Do you think we can change this trend and actually start companies that grow the economy from within and make India more self reliant?
I'm sure we can, and I think they've already done it in the past as far as the IT services sector was concerned. Today we are the backbone of IT infrastructure globally. And there are some handsome companies like Infosys, HCL, Tata, which has come up during this process. I think we can do it in AI. It's going to take time. I think the honorable minister was being provocative, and for good reason. I feel that it's important that those categories also get jump started. I think it will happen. I just believe in Indian youth. I just believe in the power of India's youngsters. I think they're super smart. They have access to quality education. And I think they're capable of changing the world, making a dent in the world in the way that you want or you are asking for.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And just a word on the consumer. I don't think he meant to put down the consumer industry. I think he was more saying, hey, we need to have more cutting edge original tech
Yeah,
companies
that's
coming up,
precisely what I'm.
which is
Yeah.
completely fair. I think he used a reference point, which we all do when we want to provoke people to think and act. I am actually very excited by the consumer businesses that are coming out of India. Many of them are innovative products. And I would actually go out on a limb and say in the next 5 to 10 years, you will see Indian D2C brands actually selling in the UK. And the treaty will help in terms of ease of business. But you're going to see these brands come. You're going to go to a supermarket in UK and you're going to see a large rack dominated by Indian D2C brands.
And that's going to be great news for Indian students studying here. But anyway, the one of the reasons that I was so excited to talk to you today was, of course, all of this market analysis is fine, but in the venture capital industry, you come across some very interesting people, very interesting brands with amazing stories. So I just wanted to ask you if you had one highlight from your career you could tell us about in terms of an interesting story of a brand that gripped you personally.
There are so many of them that I think it's going to be difficult to pick one, but I'll try. There is a brand called WakeFit, which we have been working with for the last 6.5 years. This is a couple of founders, Ankit and Chaitanya, who created a very strong product. They built a homegrown mattress, which was superior in quality compared to many of the offerings available in the market. And because they built the product, they engineered the product, they could sell it at a much cheaper price compared to the larger legacy companies operating. They used online distribution to get the product in front of the consumer faster, smarter. A lot of innovation, a lot of engineering went into product process delivery and the pricing. And I think I've seen this company grow tremendously. What I also like is this is a brand that was actually built on content. So the brand was not built on advertising. The brand was not built by spending millions of dollars on mainstream television. It was actually built by creating content that was engaging, that was interesting for consumers, and that went viral. One example of that is a sleep internship that they created, a program called Sleep Internship, where they actually announced this amazing idea of if you believe that you're a great, if you're good at sleeping, then we have the right products for you. So please apply. Tell us why we should award you a sleep internship at our company where you will get paid to sleep. This program is now, I
Talk
think,
about a dream job.
yeah. This program, I think, is now in its fifth or sixth season. This was created by Spring for WakeFit. We still run that program. And I think it's amazing how much the company has gained in terms of brand visibility and preference thanks to initiatives like this. And I feel I gave you this example because I think that's what is required to build the next generation of brands. It's not about large budgets, it's not about spending money on television, it's about how smartly can you engage the consumer in ways that today's young consumer gets attracted to, gets interested in. And that's how the next generation of brands will be built.
And speaking of the next generation, just transitioning into a forward looking segment, how do you think the venture capital landscape will benefit from all the emerging technologies that we're seeing? Of course, artificial intelligence is something that everyone talks about these days, but especially in India's context, our digital infrastructure is something that has grown very rapidly in the past decade. How do you see these developments bolstering and creating a framework essentially for creating new brands?
I think almost everything that has been achieved in India is in the last few years on the startup side has been achieved on the back of this digital payment infrastructure. Two big changes that happened in India. One is UPI, which enabled all kinds of payments at razor sharp speed, practically given free to the consumer. And second, the cost of data fell dramatically thanks to Geo. I think these two have been the biggest changes in core infrastructure, if I may call it that. And that is a basis on which startups have got built. And I'll give you an example of a very innovative company, which is in our portfolio. We've invested in this company. This is called JAR. This is an app where young people, mostly all over India, and especially in non-metros, save micro amounts, 10 rupees to 50 rupees to 100 rupees, 200 rupees. They put in that, they punch in the money thanks to UPI. And at the back end, it converts into digital gold.
Wow.
And because of this, at some point, as you're saving these micro payments, which you don't even think about, all these early jobbers and first-time workers, they're suddenly realizing that they have a few thousand rupees of gold, which they can convert into gold coins or gold jewelry on the app, which they can gift to their families, to their loved ones. And this company just turned profitable a few months back. And it's a very young company run by very smart young founders. They had a great idea, they executed it well, but this company would not have existed if not for UPI, and if not for the low cost of data that India is able to offer. And I think that's the change that has happened in India. That's the kind of, I've given you one example. There are hundreds of examples of innovative startups that have been built on the back of these two pillars. And I think that will continue. I think the best gift that India has received is the quality of its digital infra. And that will spawn a whole new generation of startups.
And I like how you called data and UPI digital payments core infrastructure. These are really going to be things that are going to support Indian growth, I think, for decades to come at least. So, time is short. We would have loved to talk to you in much greater detail, but thank you for taking the time to speak to us today. It was great to meet you at the conference and to interact throughout the multiple sessions. So, thank you for taking the time once again. It was a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you, Ishan. Lovely talking to you, and wish you and your class all the very best.
Thank you.
And hope that many of you come back to India and join the fantastic set of entrepreneurs who are building in India.
Thank you very much.